So you want to be a quarterback. Okay. Okay. Let's talk about it. I think you can be a quarterback. Now, on what level is another question. So I want to make some videos here to give you some insight into what it takes to be a quarterback at different levels and what you can do to help you be a quarterback at different levels. And the levels I'm speaking of, I'm going to break them out in the separate videos, but we want to discuss little league quarterbacks, middle school quarterbacks, high school, college, and professional quarterbacks. And my background is my son went from playing offensive lineman to now trying to play quarterback at the college level. Okay. So that is my experience. And this viewpoint is coming from a parent, but this will also be some information for players as well. So both. So let's start at the beginning. First thing to look at is your kid that natural quarterback at the little league level? Meaning they're a really good athlete, can throw the ball a little bit, and they can take hits for the most part. That's normally what you see with the little league quarterback. Let's say that physically you fit into another position. There are some things to combat that. Okay. And again, I mentioned that my son went from playing lineman to playing quarterback. So this is what we did to get him into that position. Now, the first thing is we tried to make sure he got more physically fit. So when he said he wanted to play quarterback, I said, hey, there's some things you got to get better at. And the first thing was being physically fit. So we would go out and run with him. We'd do some fun things like do a 40-yard dash, or we would run around the neighborhood. We also had him do push-ups and sit-ups every once in a while. We'd have a little contest. How many push-ups can you do in 10 seconds, in a minute? How many sit-ups can you do? So those are things that, one thing that you can do as a little league quarterback to help you get in that position is to be more physically fit, especially if you're not very fit now, okay? Because you do need to be fit to play in general. Now, another key thing that I think helped tremendously is my son played flag football. And the way that started is we got him playing flag when he was very, very young, just to play football. And then once he got to tackle, he started playing flag in the off season. And he started off as just, snapping the ball because it was older kids he was playing with. And then one season he decided he wanted to play quarterback. So he went out for quarterback on the flag team, and he and another kid got the position, but the other kid never really came to any games. So he played quarterback the whole season. They lost every game. But he learned valuable lessons and valuable skills in those losses. The very next season, he came back, and one of the coaches actually called him specifically and said, hey, we want you to be our quarterback. They went to the league championship that year. And he started to build a reputation as a kid that could throw the ball a little bit, okay, enough at that age. And it wasn't great, but enough, better than the average kid in terms of anticipating throws sometimes and getting the ball to a guy. So that's one of the things that helped him build up to that. He was now a passer, not a thrower. He was, guys were running routes and he was anticipating throws, and that's what I consider to be a passer. A thrower can just throw the ball to a guy that's open, and only when he's open. You've got to be able to do it better than that if you want to be a passer, okay? Now, one of the things that we did to help him get better when he started playing flag more is that we went out, me and my wife would go out with him, and we would help him work on specific skills. Excuse me. Passing to guys that are actually coming out of a route, passing to a guy that's standing still, footwork, drops, motion. And we learned all of this from YouTube videos because, again, I'm not a football guy. I am a motorcycle guy, dirt bike guy. So most of the stuff I learned from YouTube videos. You're going to find some good information, valid information, and some information that's not too valid. But the basics you should be able to find from a reputable source. Drops, 3-step drop, 5-step drops, throwing motion, little things to do, looking off players, anticipating. There are YouTube videos about all that. So becoming working with your child, not just sending them to someone, which you will want to do at some point. And I've seen people do that, send their kids to coaches early on. But footwork and all that stuff is very important. If you don't have the money or the funds to send your child to a dedicated quarterback coach early on, you don't necessarily need it early on, in my opinion. Okay, but footwork, ball placement, all those things, start working on them early, even if your child's team isn't really throwing the ball right now. They're going to need it later on, so start working on it now. Okay. Another key thing is executing plays. We always stress that to my son. You've got to be able to execute plays. So as a passer of the ball, you've got to understand ball placement. You have to understand the route that the player is running, where they're going to end up in relation to the defender. All of that is part of executing plays. And in Little League, as my son got older, that really came in handy. I won't say came in handy. It was a key thing in helping him secure the position. In his first year as a full-time tackle quarterback, the night before the team's first game, he cut his knee open, so he couldn't play. And there was a second quarterback. It was two quarterbacks at that point. And the team we were playing was the champion from the previous year in that league. They had really good players, they had athletic players, and they ran over us in that game because we couldn't execute plays. My son comes back about halfway through the season. We played the same team again, but we were able to actually execute plays. We ran over that team the second game, so much so that team seemed demoralized after the game. So executing plays is huge. Another thing that's important, I think, as a Little League quarterback, the earlier you can play tougher competition, the better. There are weight limit leagues. We played in a no weight limit league. But seeing that competition earlier, I think, helped tremendously later. Then the final thing is, with youth or Little League football, is you have to be able to take a hit. As a youth player, you've got to be able to stand in and take a hit as you throw the ball. You've got to be able to take blindside hits. You just got to be ready for it all. So if you can't take a hit, you're in trouble. Okay, but if you can take a hit, that's a key thing. All right. So again, to cap this off, being more physically fit, being a passer, not a thrower, getting involved with flag football, executing plays, getting your team to actually execute plays better, playing tougher competition, and then being able to take hits. I hope that you found this video useful and informative, and stay tuned for our next video, Tips for Middle School Quarterbacks. TOD.